Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where as promised, here we are with 103 meters per second left. I rounded it, so I think it's slightly less, but that's fine. We're currently trying to get around towards target here, and I don't know how well it's actually going. We're about 16 kilometers apart right now, and we cannot physics warp. You can see there's some breakage down here. These parts are technically still connected to us somehow. But there's been some krakening that has happened here. And that's okay. We're just making our way around towards pro-target here. And we're going to try to get this thing over to the mining ring station. I fully expect huge amounts of krakening here. And I would not be surprised if everything blows up, to be honest. We'll see, because this Krakens, the station Krakens, it's a Kraken good time, I guess. So we're just going to make our way around here. You can see that our target speed is drifting. That's because we are the correct distance away, or we were when I popped us in here. We're a little closer than that right now, so that's actually good that we're drifting towards it. But we need to be watching this intersect here. And we're just making our way over towards this target node. And we want to get in as close as we can. It's going to be awkward, for sure. But if we can get burning here a little bit, we'll see what we can do. We don't have much DV left. That's for sure. But let's bring this thing on in, I hope. We have a lot of monoprop if we need to, so it's not going to be great, but once we're basically out of fuel at this point, and hypothetically, once we're out of fuel, we could maybe undock this. I'm not sure if the struts would detach or not. That would be an interesting experiment, actually. That might make things a little easier. I'm going to quick save, but we'll try that maybe after this burn. We're pretty close here, so I'm going to start throttling us up right about... This is taking longer than expected. Now. Okay, so we're burning towards target here, and we want to be watching this separation. That relative speed is a lot. This is much better. Okay. Well, we'll we'll go around to target retrograde at this point. That's 16 kilometers. That's not really close enough. 16.1. Let's just go to target retrograde and kill our relative velocity. We're pretty far away, so we build up our relative velocity quickly, and this thing does not turn or accelerate quickly. That's for sure. We did deliver it into a similar orbit. So one thing we could hypothetically do is detach this monstrosity when we're basically out of fuel for it, untrack this to not physics crack in it, and then launch just a center core here to re-intercept the asteroid and bring it in that way. That's a theoretical possibility. If we were to do that, actually, I think that's a pretty good idea. In which case we should go to orbital retrograde and bring this down to like 300 or 400 kilometers. I'm not sure how far we can actually get it down, but let's take a look at that. Actually, we'll go to the periapsis here, and that retrograde burn would then happen, bringing this down to that's not quite as cheap as I was hoping, but it's okay. We'll bring this out to about 400 kilometers, and this seems to be economical. Okay. This will help a lot with the lag and with the general krakeniness of this. So then we bring this down from here, but I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. We're going to head around to the maneuver node. And yeah, without having all of this kraken here, I mean, all of this fuel pretty much was necessary for getting us here. So this wasn't a mistake to build at all. We're going to build another, or rather send up another one of these cores with more fuel, and that will allow us to bring this thing in. And it'll be way less laggy to boot. So I think that's all great. We're going to have to potentially do something about this advanced grabbing unit. I'm thinking about just strutting that in the vehicle creator. I would love to physics warp right now. That is not an option. Even if we time warp, things are going to get really weird here with how krakeny this thing is. So that's a concern. We're going to slowly turn our way over, and yeah, it's going to take one more mission to bring this thing in. But honestly, that's fine. This thing is so heavy and so big. I do want to rethink how we have this attached a bit, because you can see there's a pretty good bend in that grabbing unit. I for sure want to strut the grabbing unit to the advanced reaction wheel. That'll definitely be something that I want. And other than that, we are going to want the RCS as well. So it's going to be a slight redesign of this core. A slight redesign. But it should be much more stable, in theory, anyway. Actually, we might want to put an engine plate with, like, 4 advanced grabbing units up here, all strutted together, and then also all strutted to the plate. That might not be a terrible idea, now that I think about it. Can we not have this nonsense going on, KER? I just noticed that. KER, control bar. How do I grab these again? I figured this out previously. Orbital edit? No. That's not actually what I want here. Close that editor, and we'll delete that section. There we go. I think this is actually the HUD. Which one? HUD 1. Or HUD 2? HUD 2. Cool. So we're going to move that over. I don't know why that moved, but there we go. Got it. We got there in the end, and we're still turning, so this is reasonably fine. Our burn is going to be in about 12 minutes. I'm definitely going to quick save before we time warp this, because it's concerning to me. This is very, very krakeny. In retrospect, we should have probably burned it in a little bit closer, but we had the Kraken going on, and that is, I guess, reasonably fine. Okay, so we are going to arrive here hopefully soon. We're just kind of spinning for the time being. I'm going to turn the RCS off. And we arrive. Almost. Close enough. We're going to warp. This is going to kraken out here in a moment. So we'll give it the full minute to settle that back down. I'm going to turn the RCS on because, yup, that's expected. Let's just settle down, Mr. Kraken. Let's settle it on down. We're going to give it the full minute here. Now, if these parts clip together, that's not a big deal, but you can see a lot of these have, like, changed where they're actually attached. One of them is way back here now. I don't have an explanation for this. But this did get us to where we needed to be, which was in orbit around Kerbal. So that's great. We're almost in position, and we're settling down nicely. This is going to be a bit tedious to bring this thing down, because this really likes to wobble around. But that's why we're going to be redesigning some of this up here. So let's bring this on down. Right about now. We're going to try. We're definitely going to be drifting here. Like 1,000,000% we're going to be drifting. Yeah. You can see we're coming down this way. Let's stop that. Cool. How far down did that actually drop us? 490? I'm going to get rid of this for right now, and I want to burn just pure retrograde. I would stop this tumble that we have right now with physics warp, but Kraken. I mean, we can try it. Yikes. Kraken indeed. Kraken indeed. Okay. I want to grab this guy. Nope. This guy. Got it. I want to make sure we're controlling from here. Cool. We're going to let this settle. Definitely no more warps. That's for sure. We've gotten this down to 490. I'd love to get it down to 400. The question is, how realistic is that? The answer is somewhat, as long as we're willing to be patient with this. But yeah, this definitely requires a redesign here. Looking at this, it almost looks like... Yeah, the remote guidance unit is clipped into the battery here. Okay, so that's not all completely stable either. We're definitely going to have to do something about that stack. Okay. So we're a little offset here because of that. Interesting. That's another good reason to replace this center core. Okay, let's just slow it on down here a bit. Cool. So we're getting about 10 kilometers off of this before we start to drift pretty far. Got it. Okay, let's bring it back. Yeah, we're going to waggle all around here. But we're going to try to bring this thing back. I mean, what we could do is well, actually, I was going to say we could just put it in the orbit and just burn all this off. We could call this good enough. Hypothetically, if we were to push this back out at this point, how much progress do we see from an orbit? I think that's reasonable, in all honesty. I mean, that's only a couple of days, right? So I think this is fine. We'll call this good, and we are going to get rid of this maneuver. We are also going to detach all of these. So I'm going to release this and disarm it. I'm going to release this and disarm it. I'm going to release this. Actually, it's already disarmed. I'm going to release this and disarm it. And then, I think that's all of them that were actually connected. I'm going to release this and disarm it. Are we currently connected? I don't know. RCS on? And we're connected. Okay, what grabbed? This arm. We're going to release that. And I'd like to disconnect it. Oh, we need to switch to the correct body. There we go. So we'll disarm that. And we are out of here. Let's just head over to orbital retrograde. There we go. And I'd like to just warp a bit until we're clear. Okay, we're clear, and we're going to deorbit this thing. I want to watch it burn at this point. We have plenty of Delta V to deorbit it, so that'll be fine. We're going to bring it down, and then next episode, we're going to bring up a newly redesigned center core here. This got us where we needed to go, but we're not quite done yet. So that's fine. We are going to burn this right now, and we're just going to burn this thing up in the atmosphere. So I am looking to get our periapsis to be somewhere around 10K. I want to see this thing explode. We burnt nearly all of the fuel to get it here, but I definitely want a redesigned one to bring it in. I want less Kraken, and I want, hopefully, a little bit more in terms of... Let's just bring this down a bit. I want a little bit more in terms of stability. So it should be fine. Like I said, I want to bring this down to 10K. We are going to let this thing burn. And that'll be fine. Bringing it on down. $20K. And 10K. Beautiful. At this point, we are going to warp until... Where's Kerbal? There it is. We're going to warp until we are in the atmosphere. Nothing is going to survive this re-entry, I think. If we survive this re-entry, I'm going to have questions. Oh, one thing I definitely want to do before we go into the atmosphere, I want to turn off the anti-kraken that we had on. There we go. Cool. Fantastic. Gonna physics warp here while we turn. We can physics warp this thing on its own. It was just connected to the other... Hang on, I want to check. These are no longer clipped together, but this is still at a bit of an angle. I'm pretty sure I didn't set it at that angle, but sure. Okay, so we're going to continue to warp here until we hit the atmosphere, which will be now. And down we go. We are going to burn retrograde here and try to slow ourselves down as much as possible, but I fully expect a ground impact. Let's see how this goes. How long of a burn do we have? Oh, we have like a 2-minute burn here. We can also burn with our monoprop. So we'll do that too. And we're going to blow this guy up. Fantastic. And then we'll bring up a replacement, which will hopefully be a little bit better engineered. I didn't necessarily anticipate quite as many Kraken issues, but here we are. We're definitely starting to go pretty quick. And we can see our thrust to weight here is 0.29, which isn't, amazing. But that's fine. We will continue to slow down, and we have a lot of drag. Like, there's a lot of surface area here to slow us down. No doubt about that. But there's also not a ton of frame rate going on here. Bit of a slideshow, but with this thing, that's not shocking. Let's get rid of it, and let's get ourselves a new one. We are decelerating as much as possible. We're starting to see heat gauges here. I fully expect this thing to fully explode. We do have a lot of surface area, though. So there is that. We're still above orbital speed at this point. Antenna broken by aero forces. Fully expected. I'm surprised the solar panels are still alive. Now they're breaking off. Cool. Yep, I'm not at all surprised by these heat gauges. We fully expect this. Kaboom! This is what we want. I'm not sure what actually blew up there. Are those struts? I think those might be struts blowing up. Or no, I think those are our arms. We're starting to tumble. And we'll just allow it. Cool. Okay, there goes a big tank. And there goes some more tanks. We're slowing down pretty dramatically. This is actually pretty entertaining. As more of these parts blow up, performance will improve. Kaboom. We don't expect to recover any of this. If we manage to recover it, it will be a miracle. And that's okay. I'm surprised we only lost the one tank and that it was this tank. We're slowing down dramatically now, but again, I don't expect any of this to survive. And that's just fine. We're going to be spiraling because we did lose the one tank, which is kind of hilarious. We'll try to make our way around to retrograde, but I really don't think we'll make it. And with this spin, the spin is kind of funny. But I will not be particularly sad to see this guy go. This design has given us some issues. That's for sure. But we're going to deorbit that. Well, it's already deorbited. We're going to get rid of it. I'm wondering how much will survive. I think some of it will survive here. We'll see. I'm currently vainly attempting to monoprop to slow us down. Actually, I don't think it's going. Okay, now I am. I was pressing the wrong button. I'm vainly attempting to monoprop to slow us down, but it's not going to be successful, and we're going to impact here. Kaboom! Does anything survive? Actually, yes. Quite a bit of debris survived there. Lots of things like remote guidance units. I like it. Okay, that's so much smoother. Let's go ahead and head back to the Space Center from here. And we're going to work on our device that's intended to actually move this thing into the station. Now, it's going to be based on our center core. We definitely don't need the side tanks, so we can strip out a lot of complexity there. That will be great. All we need here is the center core. I'm going to go into the tracking station, and we're going to try to recover as much of that debris as we can. I don't think we're going to get much. A little bit here. Okay. Well, we got a little bit back from that. A lot of this debris is just unusable debris. There's a lot of this. Okay. Like I said, there was a number of components that survived that. None of the big tanks, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, we're going to base our pusher off of the... we're going to base it off of the center core, for sure. So let's go ahead and recover this guy and this guy. There we go. So that saved us a little bit of money. Not a ton, but a little bit. And let's head into the VAB here and get to work on designing our updated variant of it. So, first things first. We're going to hop in here. And eventually, there we go, it'll load in. And then we're going to grab our large asteroid mover core. This guy. Now, we need to do some modifications here. We do not need the docking ports. Those are not necessary. I'm going to move some of this stuff, I think. I'm going to take the grabbing unit off of here. And I want to put in an engine plate. Up here. Not that size. An EP50, perhaps. Something kind of along the lines of this. Apparently it doesn't like to go in the center. Interesting. I don't know why it wouldn't. It looks to me like there's space there. Maybe because of symmetry? Yes, because of symmetry. So we could even make there be more nodes here. Like 6x1 would probably be acceptable. Yeah. I think that would be fine. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to strut this together a little bit more safely. So we're going to strut each of these to each other if we can. Apparently we can't attach struts there, but we are certainly going to attach struts like this, for sure. Not all of them actually attached. So we're going to go to like the bottom of the engine plate and then connect it here. And hopefully this will be a lot more stable for our grabbing. That's the idea. Now, we don't have any power generation on this other than the RTG. We don't really need all that much. And we don't have any monoprop either. The question is, do we need the monoprop? I think it's not strictly a need, but I do want to disable this shroud because I think it looks bad and always has. So we're going to get rid of that. That's for sure. And this thing is a little bit insane, for sure. Realistically, I think I'm just going to, like... No, I didn't want to do that. I think I'm just going to grab our RTGs here, or our singular RTG, and we are instead going to have, like, 4 of them for our default power flow. Okay, apparently I undid that shroud reduction. There we go. And other than that, how are we looking for our thrust weight here? Looks pretty okay. Cool. So I think that is hopefully going to be a lot more stable in terms of grabbing it. There's a lot less weight out here and a lot more grab points here that are a lot closer together, and it should even be a lot more stable. Now, is this on 8x symmetry or was this on 6? I want it to be on 8 for sure. So we're going to grab this and do that. Cool. Now, if we could strut these together, I absolutely would. Oh, hey, that almost worked. Yes, that works. So then we would strut those like that. So hopefully they can hold some of that. And unfortunately, I don't know that we can get the center one. Oh, we can. Cool. So with that being the case, that should be a whole lot more stable in theory. A whole lot less likely to get those weird angles. Now, not all of them will necessarily grab, because it's an irregular surface, but I think they all will, by and large. Power, we should be fine, and yeah, I think all in all, this should be okay. But launching it will definitely be a next episode sort of thing. So we'll get this up to the asteroid, and we'll see about maybe getting it docked up to the station next episode as well. Hopefully we've got time for that. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will be seeing you all. That's a weird way to phrase that, but I guess we're going with it next time.